There just has to be more to life than finding this perfect person, getting married, having kids. So tell me if this sounds like you. You're probably waiting for this mysterious person to come into your life and swoop you off your feet and fix all your problems. And finally, when you meet this person, you're going to feel whole and you're going to finally be happy and at peace, and they're going to fix all your problems, and everywhere you're lacking in life, they're going to make up for. So if you're not really social, they're going to be really extroverted. If you're not really good with your finances, they're going to be the provider. They're going to take care of everything. A lot of us do think this way, and until then, we're just going to put our lives on hold. We're just going to keep waiting and waiting for this mysterious dream person to come in and swoop us off our feet and fix all of our problems, and then and only then will we finally have happiness. There's a very specific term for this, and it's called limerence. When you become obsessive or you just keep thinking about this idea that someone is going to fix all your problems and they're going to be this perfect person. And so we have this idealized version of ourselves in the future, right? And we think that that lies in someone else. We think that that's found in another human being. So we come across anyone in our life who gives us the slightest bit of attention. We project all these wants and needs onto that person, and we think that they are the one, and we think that they are finally that dream person that we've been thinking about. And then we start getting really caught up in this idea of someone, right? It's not actually them, it's the idea of them. It's the idea of this future that you've envisioned for yourself. Okay, so where does this come from? Where does this desire stem from? As with most things in our life, it comes from childhood. When we aren't shown proper love growing up, we seek it in others. And we want others to fill that role that our parents failed to do when we were growing up. If we were truly shown proper love, we wouldn't have this problem. So I want to make that very clear. If you were shown consistent, unconditional, positive regard, unconditional love, then you wouldn't be desperately seeking it in others, because you would feel whole on your own and you would know what true love feels like, and you would be able to give it to yourself. Now, this isn't to blame our parents, obviously, like they were just doing the best they can. And if you're going to blame them, then, you can blame our grandparents, and then you can blame our great-great-grandparents, and it just keeps going on, right? Obviously, this is just something that's unfortunate that happened, and it's our job now to fix this so that we can make it better for our future generations. So first and foremost, why is this a problem? Why is idealizing this perfect person a problem? Why is it a problem to make men the center of our lives? First and foremost, it takes us away from the present moment. Oftentimes, if things are not going well for us in the present moment, if there's not a lot of fulfillment going on, if there's not a lot of excitement in our lives, then we keep envisioning that the future will promise us some sort of salvation, that happiness is going to come for us in the future. And we often assume that happiness is going to come in the form of a person who's going to love us in all the ways that we fail to love ourselves. This is really dangerous because, first and foremost, the future doesn't exist. So you're distracting yourself from the present moment and thinking about something that hasn't even happened. And what that does is it really takes us away from living our life that we currently have right now. That's all we have, is just this present moment. Right here, right now, as you're watching this video, this is the only thing that exists. So anytime you catch yourself thinking of another man or daydreaming or thinking about this ideal relationship, try to bring yourself back to the present moment. Because what we're doing is we're putting our lives on hold in hopes that somewhere in the future, we're going to have that happily ever after, that we're going to get married and we're going to have kids, and then we'll be happy. Right now, we don't deserve to be happy. That idea is stealing away any sort of happiness that you could be having in the present moment. When you make another person the center of your world, either by constantly thinking about them or chasing after them, you are abandoning yourself. yourself. So earlier on, I was explaining how a lot of these problems stem from childhood, right? Usually from abandonment, neglect, or just not being shown consistent love. So you're essentially repeating that past trauma to yourself now by chasing after other people. Because anytime you chase after someone, anytime you try to convince someone of your worth, you are abandoning yourself. I want you to picture your younger self. I want you to think about the 7-year-old version of yourself and really try to close your eyes and imagine her. And then think about anytime you try to change yourself, anytime you try to get someone else's attention, you are essentially abandoning that little girl and you're saying that she's not enough as she is. That is a form of neglect. You're neglecting yourself whenever you put someone else on a pedestal and you obsess over them, or you think that they're this amazing, perfect person. You are abandoning that younger version of yourself. We often build these homes in other people and we assume that they're going to be the one that gives us all the love that we could ever ask for. They're going to finally make our dreams come true and make us really happy. Here's what happens. When you place your home in someone else, you're giving them all the power. And so if one day they decide that they no longer love you or they haven't worked on themselves enough and they decide to leave you or abandon you, you're without a home now, okay? You're back on the road. You don't have a home. Getting to that point is extremely scary because you have no leg to stand on. You've put all your eggs in one basket. You've put everything into this other person and you completely failed to see yourself or take care of yourself in the process. You can never 100% truly rely on someone else. Like, we come into this world alone, we're gonna go alone as well. I don't care if this is the love of your life, I don't care if this is the most perfect person in the world. You can never 100% rely on someone because anything can happen at any point, right? I'm not even saying like if they were to change their mind. I'm saying like, what if they were to leave this world? Then what are you going to do? You can't place all your happiness in another human being because human beings come and go. It takes a lot of discipline because it's so easy to lose ourselves in someone else. And the idea seems so romantic. It seems so like movie-like, right? To completely abandon yourself and just act irrational and all this stuff. But you have to tread very carefully. Build a life for yourself and have a stable foundation, right? Like, think of a table. You have to have 4 legs. You have to have other things going on in your life that are going to serve as a stable foundation so that if anything were to happen, you will be able to stand back up on your feet and your life will not completely crumble. This is so, so important. And what do we often do? We often change ourselves. We often change our appearances to have other people like us. We often cancel plans, for another person and prioritize them constantly in every aspect of our life. We really have to make sure we go out of our way to avoid doing that, because the moment you put someone on a pedestal and you make them the center of your world, you put yourself at a very, very dangerous position to be hurt. When we don't see our worth and our value ourselves, we often seek it in other people. We seek external validation because we ourselves have no idea how amazing we are, how beautiful we are, how capable we are. And so we need other people to tell us that. This often becomes really problematic when you're in a relationship and you're constantly begging them or you're trying to convince them that you're a good person or they need to understand your value and they need to treat you as such. The moment you find yourself trying to convince someone else of your worth, you automatically put them above you. We constantly seek this validation from someone else because we don't see it ourselves. And we need them to make all these extraordinary gestures to show us love because we ourselves don't believe that we're capable of being loved. What's sad is that we have all this love, we have all this goodness within us, and we project it onto someone else and we put them up on a pedestal when they never deserved it in the first place. All this love, all these qualities that you're admiring in someone else are within you. That's why you're able to pick up on these traits and pick up on these good things. One piece of advice I really love is if you want to learn more about yourself, learn what you love in others, because that's a reflection of what's within you. The thing is, it was never them to begin with. It was always you. These things that you admire, that you love in someone else are a reflection of everything that's good within you. When you break up, it's not really that person that you're missing, but it's that version of yourself that they brought out when you were with them. That's truly what you're missing. And so understanding that this version of yourself that you are when you're with them has always been there, and they were just able to show it to you. But now you know that that exists. These qualities that you admire in someone else are just a reflection of you. Don't give them all the power and credit. These are things that you have within yourself that you can bring out at any time, and you don't need someone else to bring these traits out. We oftentimes have infatuation for others and not really love. Infatuation is admiring more so the idea of someone rather than them as a person. So like we want this idea of being loved. We like this idea of being in a relationship and the idea of building a home and having kids and this happily ever after. The dangerous thing about infatuation is that you will completely ignore all red flags and any signs that you aren't compatible with someone. You will ignore that because you want it to so badly work out that you're willing to just toss aside all your expectations and your standards in hopes that, this person is just going to grant you true fulfillment and happiness. And that puts you in a really dangerous position because that can only last for so long. And then eventually, when you're with this person for a long time, the traits that you neglected to really think about are going to come out and they're going to bother you. And you can't ignore it forever. That's why it's so important to approach love in a very logical fashion. Of course, you need to think about it from the heart, but you also need to think about it from the brain as well. It's time to fill your own cup and bring this energy back to yourself. So that going forward in the future, if you were to meet someone, you're not going to completely abandon yourself. And you're also going to make that decision to be with them from a very powerful stance because you know your worth and you know your standards, and you're not just willing to give that up just to be in a relationship. You're not going to let the idea of this future or this person take away from all the goodness you have within yourself. So first and foremost, it's super, super, super important to find hobbies. Oftentimes we become obsessive with the idea of love because our lives currently aren't fulfilling enough. This easily happens when you're playing the waiting game, right? When you put your life on hold because you're just waiting to get married, you're just waiting to find this person who's going to bring happiness, and then you're not really making your current journey fulfilling enough. You're not doing anything that you actually like. So it's so important to find hobbies that bring you true joy and fulfillment. So much so that you may stop even thinking about this person. You may stop even imagining about the future or daydreaming about the future because you are living your dream life right now. And so, there's tons of ideas. Like currently, I just started pottery class and I love it so much, but there's so many other things you can do. There's music, drawing, reading, horseback riding, piano, cooking, baking, acting. Like there's so many things you can do. I want you to completely fill up your schedule with these things as much as you can. Obviously, give yourself time to think and relax. Every day of the week, I have something I do that I look forward to so that I don't come home after work and I just think, oh, my life is so miserable. I need to get married. I need to have someone come in and save me and make me happy. I don't ever find myself thinking about that because I simply just don't have the time. I just have so many activities that bring me in the present moment. So Find hobbies that will make your life more fulfilling. Start becoming the love you seek. Think about what's your love language. If it's words of affirmation, give it to yourself. If it's acts of service, do kinder things for yourself. If it's physical touch, give yourself a hug. I know that sounds weird and cheesy, but you'd be amazed. Just do it right now. You'd be so amazed. Giving yourself a hug feels so nice. I just always imagine like my inner child and I'm just giving her a nice hug. All these like love languages that you seek in someone else, give it to yourself. I want you to write down a list of everything you want your future partner to have. All the qualities, all the traits. I want you to write that list and then become it. So if you want them to be more social, you be social. If you want them to be spiritual or religious, you be spiritual or religious. If you want them to be rich, you become rich. You become all those things. Because when we write this list of what we want our partner to be, it often is a list of things we currently lack. And so if you can provide it for yourself, you're not going to be desperately looking for it in another person. Understand that you are whole. We don't fall in love with someone else. We fall in love with the version of ourselves that they bring out. And so understanding that that version of yourself that you so loved when you were with them has been there all along. And they were just a mere portal to show you what you are capable of. That love you seek from someone else has been there the entire time. It was always within you. And if you so desire love from someone else, you're really not going to be able to achieve it until you fully experience it yourself. Because how are you going to even know what is it supposed to be like? It's only when we can truly find deep love within ourselves that we can start searching for it in others. Understand that no matter what happens, you will be okay. I want you to always remind yourself that anytime you meet someone, you're talking to someone, even if you're in a relationship, no matter what happens, you'll be okay. That way you don't fully depend on them for your stability, for your peace, for your happiness. Even if they were to reject you, even if they were to leave you, you will be okay because you have yourself and you will always have that safety net throughout your entire life. And that way, you're never going to have to convince someone that you're worth being with. You're never going to have to beg for someone because you already understand your value and your worth, and you know that you're going to be okay no matter what happens. Another thing that's really important is practicing gratitude. If you're in a state of lack, you're going to be desperately looking for someone to fulfill all your needs to make you happy. No one likes that kind of energy. Instead, practice gratitude. Look around you. There are thousands and thousands of things that you currently have that you can be grateful for. When you're in a state of gratitude, you are in a state of abundance and you are in a state of receiving. And that's going to make it more likely that you will receive love from everyone around you. If you are constantly just thinking about, the fact that you're alone or, this fear that you're going to be alone forever and everyone around you is in a relationship and it's not going to work out for you, you're putting yourself in a state of lack. Who says that those people who are in a relationship are even happy to begin with? Like, that's just an assumption that you're making. It's not always true. People in a relationship are not always happy, and people who are single are not always unhappy. Start practicing love. We always think that love is just going to come to us, that we're just going to meet our soulmate, that the perfect relationship will just happen and we're just going to bump into them in a coffee shop and then there's going to be fireworks and we're just going to know. And like when you know, you know. That is not true. Love is very much a verb. It is something you practice. It is a choice you make on a daily basis. No one's going to be perfect all the time, and human beings aren't perfect. We all have flaws, and you yourself have flaws. So if you want true, real love with someone, you have to start practicing it with yourself. And that means loving yourself even on bad days. Like, it's so easy to love ourselves when we're looking good, when we're feeling good, when everything's going well for us in our life. It's super easy to love ourselves. But what about those moments when you look in the mirror and you catch yourself speaking negatively to yourself? What about those days where you are not feeling 100% your best? How do you treat yourself on those days? How do you speak to yourself? That is a true practice of love. Start being kinder to yourself. Start giving yourself all that love that you are seeking from someone else. Then and only then are you able to provide it for someone else. And here's the most beautiful thing. When you bring that 100% authentic, true, beautiful love in a relationship, whether it be platonic or in a romantic relationship, what's going to happen is they're going to mirror that right back at you. But if you show up in a relationship and you yourself are not feeling whole and you don't love yourself, you're just going to give them like whatever 10-20% of love that you have. They're only going to be able to mirror that love at that level. But let's say you treat yourself at 100%, then when you meet someone, you're going to bring out that 100% love in them and they'll mirror it back at you. And it's going to be this beautiful, amazing love. And this kind of love is very, very rare. It's very difficult to find. And this is the kind of love that you'll hear about in books and stories, because it takes a lot of work, right? It's not easy. It really takes a lot of working on your ego, working on yourself. But if you don't, and you just sit there and you wait and you assume that someone's just going to pop into your life and bring all this love, that is wishful thinking. That doesn't happen. You have to first find it within yourself in order to seek it in other people. So let's say you only love yourself at 10%. And believe me, this is a majority of people. They only love themselves at 10%. Now, if someone even breathes your way or looks your way and offers you like 20%, you're going to be like, sweet, that's great. They love me double the amount that I love myself. So this must mean this is amazing, true love. And that's all you know. That is the ceiling of your love. When you didn't even know that there is 100% love out there. Okay, so how are you able to get 100% of love? You have to bring that within yourself. You have to love yourself at 100% level. Then and only then can someone come into your life and offer you 110%, right? Because they're going to add on to your life. If they offered you even 80%, you're going to be like, no, thank you, because I can offer myself 100% love. So why on earth would I settle for 80%? That person is only going to add on to your life and only meet you at the level that you're currently at. That's why it's so important to bring that all for yourself. Work on yourself. Be your own best friend. That way, you're not even going to be thinking about someone else. And if that does happen, then they're going to definitely be improving your life and you're not going to bring it down and you're not going to be settling for someone. I also want to touch on thinking that we're not worthy of love or we're not deserving of love. First and foremost, who said that love is something you earn? I used to be this way. I used to think that love is something you have to earn or you have to fight for. That is not true. Love is our true nature to the core. And over time, we develop a lot of layers of ego that really shuns us away from our true nature, which is love. So it's not something that you're deserving of. It's a gift. Imagine you got your mom a gift for her birthday and then she gives it back to you and she's like, oh, no, thank you. I don't deserve this. I'm not worthy. That's going to make you feel weird, right? Because, well, it was never about you to begin with. It was more so I wanted to give you this gift. And this is because I have so much love for you. And so you need to start thinking about it in that same way towards yourself. If the universe gives you a gift, you don't reject it and say, oh, you're not worthy of it. You take it, you accept it, and you have immense gratitude for it. And understand that it's not all about you. You just play a small role in this universe. And love is inherent within all of us. I never once want you to think that you're not worthy or deserving of love. I used to think this for the longest time. And I realized this happens in those who had received conditional love. But love should be given freely. It's actually our given right. And it's who we are to the core. Our truest selves is love. And it's only over time, because of conditioning and the development of our egos, that it seems distant from us. But it was there all along. You have it within you all along. Practicing trust that what's meant for you will always work out for you. I want you to trust that as long as you played your part, you discovered love within yourself, that you will find it in someone else. It's inevitable. It's like studying for a test and thinking that you're going to fail. You know, when you're in school and there's always that one person who studies really hard, who always gets good grades, and then it's like the day before the exam, they're freaking out and they're like, oh no, I'm going to fail. I was that person. That is the type of person you're acting like when you don't have any trust. You have to keep reminding yourself, you've done your part. The rest is out of your control. And good things are waiting for you. Good things are going to happen. It's like when you place an order for pizza, do you ever question whether it's going to come? No. It's going to come because you placed the order. It might take some time, but are you going to pull up your phone and check the app every 5 seconds to see whether it's coming? Just trust that eventually you will find your person. It's going to happen. It's not something you should desperately be seeking or thinking about constantly. Right now, I have brownies in the oven, okay? And I, made the batter, I did the work, I placed it in the oven. Am I going to check on it every 5 seconds and keep opening up the oven to see whether they're done? No, right? Like I know that they're going to get cooked and I'm going to be able to eat them in their time. But if I keep opening the oven door, I'm only going to cool the oven down more. It's going to disrupt the baking process. And then if I try to rush things and I turn the temperature up, it's going to burn my brownies. It all will come in its time. And I'm just going to trust that it will work out. And even if it doesn't, I'm so fulfilled and happy right now that it doesn't even matter. I have so much to be grateful for right now that even if for some reason the brownies didn't turn out, it'll be fine. So it's time you build a home within yourself and you start answering your own call and you become the love that you seek. So I hope this video helps. I've been thinking about these topics for a while because I know it affects so many women. It just seems like most of our life problem is just getting married and finding the love of our lives. And there has to be more to life than that. One body, that's all we get. One human body is all we get. And I'd rather not waste it thinking that this happiness resides in someone else, that fulfillment is going to come in a form of a partner. I want to be able to do that for myself, and I want to be able to fill my own cup. So I hope this video helps, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.